We all have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. But honestly, whoever said that has probably not seen how overwhelming modern life today is. And you'd be right to think that, because when Confucius said that 2500 years ago, there were no smartphones, there was no YouTube, and life was so much slower. But that doesn't mean this statement isn't valuable, because when I saw it on an Instagram post a few weeks ago, it had millions of likes, tens of thousands of comments, and yet not a single one filled with true realization. Yes, people were talking about how great this quote was or how amazing it felt to feel that or to think that. But were they really starting to live their second lives? Had they actually recognized that this was the only life they had? No, because if they did, they wouldn't be wasting their time, they wouldn't be scrolling all over, they wouldn't be out there giving away their most important resource like it's free change. And I bet you can relate to this, because if you're someone who's overwhelmed by their job or overwhelmed by college or studies or just the pressure of it all, feeling this and recognizing that there is a fulfilling life out there, that my real life is still waiting for me, well, that can be hard. And that is why I want to make this video today, because no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is, no matter the kind of work you do, you deserve to live a happy life. You deserve to live a fulfilling life. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that fulfillment probably won't be there in the next video you watch. So I hope you stick around and you watch this one till the end, so that you can learn from the 3 insights that helped me begin that second life, that made me realize how important time really is and how I can make the best of it. Let's begin. Number 1, become acutely aware of time. This has honestly been one of the best decisions I've made this year, and by making just this one shift in my everyday thinking, I was able to use my time so much better. And the principle behind it is simple. When you're aware of something, you track it and you use it well. And this diary that I have right here is proof. So here's what I do. For example, I'll open this up, and yesterday I'll go to the latest page that I wrote. The date said that it was 16th of July 2025, and that meant 54% of the year had passed. I write this statistic every single day. Before that, it was 53.7%. And the reason I do that is simple: to help me be acutely aware of time, to recognize just how fast time is really passing. Because the truth is, when we are overwhelmed, when we are overworked, when we are constantly surrounded by distractions, right? It can be hard to keep track of how this important resource of ours is slipping away. And just this one activity that helps me realize, oh my god, so much time has already passed, is actually an empowering thing, because instead of worrying about all the time that has passed, I looked into the future. I looked into the person I could be, the growth I could achieve, and I decided to focus on that. And that is why building this acute awareness might make you think that, oh, I'll just be too obsessed with it, or is that even a good thing to do, to keep track of time every day? But trust me, if you treat time like money, if you treat it like your most important resource, it pays you back in compound interest that you could never have imagined. So build this awareness and recognize exactly how much time is passing, and don't just stop there. Also recognize how you are spending that time, and that is why I recommend keeping a journal. Write down about what you did, see the track history of your progress, and every single day take this reminder: some percentage of the year, some percentage of my life, some percentage of this week has just passed by. What have I done? What could I have done better? And how can I improve? That's it. That's all you need to do to build this acute awareness of time. And so regardless of where you're coming from, this will help you, because it will really put into sense what your priorities are. You will recognize that all this random stuff that you've burdened yourself with, it doesn't actually matter in the long term. That office drama you keep relooping inside your head, or that conversation with your best friend that has left you feeling broken and hurt, a week later, a month later, a year later, it's not gonna matter, because your life at the end of the day is your responsibility. The first step towards that responsibility is becoming acutely aware of how time is passing and how you are using it, which brings me to the second important realization I have had, and that is I dictate what I feel. A lot of times we feel out of control with our feelings. Somebody says something to us and our whole day is ruined. On the other hand, when somebody compliments us, that doesn't make our whole day. And we have this bias that tends to take us toward the negativity, towards our insecurities, toward the lack that people see in us. And by being constantly online every single moment, we are only exacerbating that negativity and that lack and that insecurity with all the news and all the insights flooding our day. And suddenly, we are no longer the ones in controls of our narratives. We are no longer the ones in controls of our feelings. But that cannot be the case if we really want to live a life that is fulfilling and a life that is happy. Because if you think about it, what are fulfillment and happiness? They are emotions, they are feelings, they are deep-seated feelings that come out from your heart, from your soul, from your mind, whatever you like to call it. But the truth is that they are feelings. And if you are not the one who's in control of your feelings, then how will you be the one who also feels happy, who feels fulfilled, who feels joyful? It doesn't make sense, right? And so that is why understanding that we can control our feelings is a very important step for us to take. And for most people, it takes a while to get there. Why? Because all our lives, we've been conditioned on one thing, that emotions are a reaction to things happening to us. Well, guess what? That's not true. Emotions are automatic responses to the things that are happening to us. Why? Because our primal brain doesn't function the way our modern brain does. So let's take a deep dive into that history here for just a moment. The old part of our brain, or the oldest one that has evolved from the monkeys and the chimpanzees and other animals, believes in only three things: fight, flight, or freeze. That is what defines the emotions that we feel, the reactions that we have day to day. But the thing is, we are not living in the wild out there anymore. We are living in offices, we are living in schools, we are living in homes, and we are living in complex interpersonal relationships where the threat is not life-threatening at all. Emotionally threatening maybe, ego-threatening maybe, but definitely not life-threatening, especially if you are watching this video. So then, what happens inside our brain when something difficult happens, or when an intense situation comes, or when somebody comes up and rejects us, or when somebody shouts at us, or when somebody disrespects us, or when we see something truly horrifying or agonizing on social media? What is happening there? Our brain's primal responses are getting kicked in. They are defining the way we feel, and what can they do? Fight, flight, or freeze. And that is what creates this uncontrollable feeling that we are not able to decide how we feel, that we're controlled by the emotions around us, that our emotions are something that the world defines. The only reason we have come to believe that is because we think emotions are the reactions, but they are not. They are the emotional responses of this fight, flight, or freeze. And so the key is not to stop thinking in that, because you need those responses. You need to be aware of dangers around you. That's basic survival. But you also need to be able to remind to your mind that the danger isn't real a lot of the times. It's just some words. And that is why you have to train your conscious mind to believe, I decide what I feel. Now it may sound cringe to you. It may sound like, oh, who even says that? But trust me on this. You do not have to protect your ego here, because if your ego were the thing that would have made you feel fulfilled, well, you wouldn't be watching this video, right? So put that ego aside and understand that the thoughts you choose both consciously and unconsciously define how you act in real life. So drop away all that idea that, oh no, this is so cringe, why would I do this? And actually start saying to yourself, I decide what I feel. I control my emotions. I control my reactions. In any moment, I can choose what my response will be. Internalize this, repeat this, make this realization a part of your conscious mind until this becomes an automatic response from you. So the next time there's office drama, or the next time a friend has stabbed you in the back, or the next time there's a disagreement with your partner or your parents, you won't be running scared like a little child, or you won't go all Neanderthal like a huge man who's full of rage and who just want to destroy everything. Those emotional reactions don't serve you. Fight, flight, or freeze doesn't serve you in places where there is no imminent danger. And that is why when you train yourself on this pattern, I decide what I feel, I control my emotions, I control my reactions, you enter a special place of power, a place where you see your mentors, a place where you see your role models, and you wonder, how are they so calm? How are they so composed? Well, it's no secret. They recognize that their feelings are in their control, that no matter what the world does to them, they are the filter, they are the decider, and they are the force that acts out in their life. So they simply choose something that serves them. And that means you just need to ask yourself one question. What kind of emotions serve me? What kind of mood serves me? What feelings help me feel better, grow better, and be more fulfilled? And then literally choose them. The world throws a curveball your way. Accept the curveball. You cannot control what the world is throwing your way, but you can control how you feel and how you react to it. And that, my friend, is a superpower. And that superpower is the key to unlocking the second life of yours, because you'll realize that your mind and your time and your energy and your potential are not worth being wasted on trivial issues that don't even matter. And for a lot of people, this is hard to do. Why? Because they are not able to understand and implement step 3. Your life is your responsibility. Now again, this is a very basic idea. I'm sure you've heard of this before, but I'm talking about it because I've seen so many people around who recognize that this is the thing that's missing in their life, and yet they will find other people to blame. They will find other situations to blame. Their boss is the bad person. Their spouse is the bad person. Their best friend is the reason they are like this. But they will never ever accept responsibility for the fact that they are the ones defining the direction of their life. And why is that? I was very intrigued by this question, and I found the answer to be again really simple but also shocking. We don't want to accept responsibility for our lives because we don't want to be seen as a failure, and we don't want to be seen as a failure because that would mean other people won't treat us with the same respect, and if other people won't treat us with the same respect, that means our ego will get hurt and we won't feel good or socially validated. That chain is the very simple reason people run away from responsibility, because think about it. Who will society appreciate or sympathize with? Someone who says, oh, you know what? I gave my best to the project and I worked so hard. I put in all-nighters. I did this, I did that. But then that colleague of mine, she is so cunning. She is so clever. She sabotaged the whole thing and I'm left cleaning up the mess. I don't even know what to do. That is the person the world will sympathize with. But they will not sympathize with the person who says, I agree, I messed up, I shouldn't have done this, I take full responsibility of it, and I'll try to make sure that the next time this doesn't happen. Now this person will probably hear, well, you should have been careful this time only. No, why are you apologizing now? Why? Your empty words don't mean anything. And so that is why the incentive for us, socially at least, is not to accept responsibility, but to blame and to deject and to push responsibility away. Because even though we might not be happy, at least we are getting socially validated and seeing the world sympathize with us. And that is the root cause for all of the problems that are so simple but become so damn complicated. People run away from responsibility like it's a mad dog. They think if they embrace it, if they actually accept failure for once, if they look the other person in the eye and say, I'm sorry, I messed up, I recognize my mistake and I'll try to do better next time, they think that a monster will come up and eat them alive. They feel that that is the worst thing to do even when it isn't. Because all you're protecting is your ego. You are not making progress, you are not growing, and above all, you are not respecting your energy, your time and your focus. And I was like that for some time. I liked to do things on my own because I was a very perfect kind of kid in school. But the moment things went wrong, I tried to find excuses, I tried to find blame. Because what would happen if the teachers realized the perfect kid wasn't so perfect anymore? But guess what? Nothing happened. I recognized I'm not perfect. I recognized that I can make mistakes too, that I can be a failure sometimes as well. That's fine. What matters is, am I owning up to it? Am I holding myself to the right standard? And am I honoring the time and the energy and the focus I put into making this happen even though I fail? Because that is what defines progress. That is what defines success. And if you just keep running away from responsibility, right, you will keep running in loops, and that will waste even more of your time by telling lies, by keeping blames, by trying to make yourself the victim in every situation. You will only end up messing with the cycle. You will only end up sabotaging your own progress. So the choice is yours. Do you want to live in the illusion that your life is infinitely long and you have unlimited days left and that you can get to happiness whenever you want? Or will you start accepting these three things today? Being acutely aware of your time, recognizing that you control what you feel, and accepting responsibility, and then actually start living the second life where you find fulfillment and happiness. If you're making the second choice today, congratulations, and I welcome you on board to the life of an achiever, to the life of someone who makes good things, who breaks records, who actually achieves the success they want. And the first step that I would love for you to take is to subscribe to this channel so that every week you are not only getting the reminders that you need to succeed, but just like this video, you are getting important and crucial insights delivered to you in direct, clear and impactful way so that you can progress and be on your way to success without wasting any more of your time. And I would love to be of help to you. So if there are any questions you have or any doubts that are going on in your head, type them out in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer them. And as always, I would really appreciate it that if you found value in this video, right, share it with a friend, share it with a colleague, a family member. Who knows, this might be the starting of a healthy relationship of you with them. When they also recognize to accept responsibility, you also do it, and together you start growing. So why not share the positivity? And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next week.